Biden economy. Okay, so yesterday we went over the grim details that have not been reported, and I've looked. $7 trillion with a T in personal wealth in America has been lost in the first 3 quarters of this year. $7 trillion. That's not swamp money. That's not GNP. It's not any of that. That's you and me, okay? Bank accounts shrinking, home values shrinking, inflation taking away any kind of investment opportunities we might have with discretionary income, all of that. 7 trillion, all right? Now, that is the worst decline since the Great Depression of 1929. That's serious business, and it should be front page and the lead story on every television program, but it isn't, because it reflects terribly on the Biden administration, and that's the simple fact. Stock market down about 25%. In fact, at one point today, 800-point swings. I mean, this is dangerous. This is dangerous. And I'm going to tell you in a moment, how to handle this. I mean, my advice, you don't have to take it, of course. And real wages, that means even though you're getting raises, most of you, spending power is down. So real wages right now, according to Fortune magazine, which studies this stuff, are down 3%. The other sets I gave you from the Federal Reserve. The U.S. government is telling you that $7 trillion has been carved off personal wealth in this country, and money is power. So as you get older, you need assets to protect yourself from disease, from any kind of maladies that may befall you. You need money to live. You need all kinds of things to protect yourself. If you don't have it, you're powerless. And I get letters every day from people who are in that circumstance. Now, next year, U.S. home prices are projected to fall 4%. That will be the worst decline since 2012. So you got a lot of equity in your home, and you had it up to here. It's coming down. And it's easy when you raise interest rates, as the Biden administration has to do to strangle inflation, then fewer people are going to buy homes at the high interest rate. So, I mean, it's, and home sales can be harder to sell your home if you have to. You're going to be down 16%. That's a prediction. And the consumer price index is up so far this year about 7%. It's more than that, but gas prices are coming down. Okay, and that's moderating the inflation a little bit. Why are they coming down? Well, very quietly, again, unreported, the Biden administration lifted many of the fossil fuel restrictions it put in when Mr. Biden was inaugurated. So they just took them off very silently. It's easier to harvest and refine oil now than it was. So that's huge. Okay, and then the oil reserves have been released into the public, and the U.S. government gets that money, all right, at the price of barrel oil. All that has lowered it. So it's down right now to about $3.25 a gallon. Okay, this is, a year ago it was $3.33. This is good news. Perhaps the only good news the Biden administration has on the economic front. Now, why then did the midterms go the Democrats' way? Because we are a nation of 2 tribes. And this is very, very important for you to understand. And I'm not being arrogant or supercilious or professorial here, but very, very few Americans understand this. We are divided into 2 tribes. We're all Americans, citizens, except for the 12 million illegal immigrants here who are in tribe number 2. And I'll get to that in a moment. So tribe number 1 is invested in the system. That means that you have a house, you have a job, you have a structure, you believe in capitalism, you believe in the Constitution, you believe in traditional tenets that have made America strong. So you are invested in the system that we have had since 1789. Okay? and you have a stake in it, a financial stake in it. So your house is your stake. If you buy stocks and bonds, if you have 401ks, if you have college funds for the kids, you're invested in the system. Okay? Tribe number one. I submit that most of you watching and listening to me today are in that tribe. You are invested in this country and you are disturbed on what is happening here. Tribe number two, totally different. They don't own property, generally speaking. They live in rentals, okay? They are low-wage earners. They don't have a lot of assets. They don't invest in the stock market. They don't have a lot of discretionary income. They don't have a lot of education, okay? They just get by. Now, tribe number two, I'm not disparaging that tribe. They love their country. I'm assuming many of them, perhaps most, love their country, but a substantial minority don't, okay? And they don't have any loyalty to tribe number one or traditional America. They want change that benefits them. Because for whatever reason, and some of it's beyond their control, if you are a child raised in a derelict home where your parents are horrible, then you're going to be up at a disadvantage. And you may turn out to be as horrible as your parents, because that's what you know, that's what you see, that's what you experience. So tribe number two, they depend on the government, okay, for everything almost. They don't pay taxes. They're below the poverty line and the line for income tax. They have to pay taxes on stuff they buy and things like that, but they don't pay income tax. There's no investment in the country. It's, okay, I got to survive. And the government's going to give me stuff, so I'm buying into this progressive vision. I'm buying into socialism. I'm buying into that because I can or won't compete in capitalistic society. I don't have enough education. I don't like it. It's too hard. Whatever it may be. This tribe is growing much faster than tribe number one. The collapse of the public school education system has taken away incentive to climb the ladder. That's what I had. I didn't have any money when I was a kid, but I had an education and I put it to good use. Now, in the inner cities in particular, education collapsed. These kids are sitting there, they're not learning anything, particularly not learning discipline, which you need to compete in a capitalistic society. So this crew, number two, the tribe, they don't have any loyalty at all. And when they go to the polling place to vote, and they do vote because the Democrats rustle them up and register them, okay, they vote for whoever's going to give them the stuff. And the Democratic Party and the progressive movement are going to give them the stuff. And the more progressive we get, the more socialistic we get, the more stuff they get by income redistribution. See? That's the profound change. It used to be most Americans wanted to climb the ladder of self-reliance and success. That is no longer the case. And that is why the progressives want the open border. Because the people coming in here, most of them are desperately poor. And they're going to need the government to help them. And they're going to vote for the parties that give them the most stuff, the most help. And so you flood the zone with people who have no tradition. They don't understand how America was formed and how it rose to become the greatest country in the world. Most of them don't understand that. No tie at all. That's what the open border is all about. Flood them in, more of them, so that tribe number two grows. Okay, so that's the lesson. And that should answer almost every question about the midterm and going forward. Now, the only thing that reverses that is a catastrophe, which we may see next year. I mean, this economy, this is like this. When you got a stock market going up and down 800 points in a day, there's a problem. Okay, a fundamental problem. I haven't bought a stock. I can't even remember the last time I bought a stock. I'm holding, and that is the last part of the memo. What do you do in the Biden economy? Nothing. It's painful, but I'm banking on the greatness of America that it will come back. I don't know when, but if I sell now, I lose forever. And you're never going to time the upswing. You'll never get it because there'll be a false upswing and then it'll go down again. You can't do it. You just can't. So if you have stocks, bonds, investments, 401s, hold it. Tough it out. Best advice I could ever give you. If you are stuck in a timeshare and you haven't called Lone Star Transfer yet, what are you waiting for? Lone Star Transfer has helped more than 16,000 happy customers. They are family owned, have a 99% success rate. Their process is done legally, ethically, and quickly. I mean, does it get better than that? The team at Lone Star Transfer will keep you informed every step of the way until you are legally and permanently released from your timeshare. So don't pay another penny for a timeshare you don't use. Get peace of mind today with Lone Star Transfer. They guarantee the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and in a specific time frame. Give Lone Star Transfer a call for a free no obligation consultation. 855-551-7066, 855-551-7066, or online at lonestartransfer.com. Let's bring in a guy who knows all about economics. His name is John Hartley. He is a research fellow with the Foundation for Research on Equal Opportunity, coming on from Palo Alto, belly of the beast, California. So what I want to know, Mr. Hartley, is, I don't know if you have a family but let's pretend that you are a working class guy, 3 kids, Palo Alto, one of the most expensive places in the universe, and you're looking at a diminishing asset situation. What do you do?
Well, it's a great question. One, I think you're totally right, Bill. The economy is sort of a house that's on fire right now, and a lot of people aren't willing to admit this. Surprisingly, while people are suffering, we're seeing some of the highest inflation that we've seen since the 1980s, some of the highest interest rates, and as you mentioned before, wages aren't growing fast enough to keep up with inflation. That's like at 7 to 8% right now. I think one, if you do have a job, one, actually bargaining, to get that wage raise, making sure that your wages are moving up at least in line with inflation. It's a terrible, terrible tax in many respects. On the sort of saving side of things, there's a few things that people can do that are, and some things that sort of exist for mom and pop type investors to deal with inflation. One of those things is I bonds. I bonds essentially give you returns that move in line with inflation, and these are something that the U.S. Treasury puts out. You can actually buy them at the U.S. Treasury's website, treasury.gov, and there's a cap. You can only buy. They're such a good deal that you can only buy up to $10,000 of them in a given year. There's some people that are suggesting that maybe we're already at the bottom of this current stock market decline, and some people are saying that bonds are looking more attractive too, given that bonds have sold off a lot. So if families have sort of suffered declines recently, I think adage too is at the very least holding on and maybe not selling out of those to the extent that you can. Obviously, if people need the money and liquidity, that's another story. But in terms of sort of thinking about capital market expectations going forward, where we are right now, it's very possible that we're sort of close to the bottom, and so hanging on, or if you have dry powder on the sidelines, putting money in now may be the good time to do that. Given
let me stop you there. We have recommended here the I bonds that you talked about. A lot of people don't have 10 grand to invest, but if you do, that at least will keep you even with the inflation when you get that interest flowing back to you. The second thing is that a lot of Americans are helpless. They don't have any say in the marketplace because they can't go in and demand a raise from the boss. The boss say, no, we're not making as much money, or times are tight and we're not going to give you the raise. So they have to take what they can get. But I always say to people, look, the more money you can save. I'm not buying any stocks at the moment. I'm not going to speculate because I don't see a good 23 coming for the federal government. I think there's going to be tremendous turbulence with the Biden administration, with these investigations of the FBI, of Joe Biden himself and his son Hunter. It's just going to be turbulence after turbulence after turbulence. And it's obvious to me as an American citizen that Joe Biden can't govern. He just can't. All right. So I'm not buying anything. I'm basically saving, mount. And then I'm conducting a one-man jihad against price gouging. And I'll have a little bit more after we talk with you about that. I don't care. It doesn't matter. The money doesn't matter to me. But if you're going to gouge, and believe me, that's happening everywhere. People are gouging now. Oh, everything's up, so I'm going to slap this on them when they don't have to. Or am I wrong?
Well, no, I mean, high price increases, and price gouging, is always, what people call price gouging has always been a controversial kind of practice. And I think too, even a lot of producers see their costs go up a lot too. It's hard to know exactly, to what degree people or corporations or businesses.
No, but I'm not talking about. I'm talking about pizza places, delis. You know what they're doing. But let me ask you one more thing. People are working. If you want to work in America, you can work and you can make a decent buck. And I think that is what is holding back the anger. So we didn't see the anger in the midterm elections. The Republicans didn't do as well as they thought they were going to do. We don't see a lot of growing anger against Joe Biden because people are working. Is that a false sense of security they have because they have a job?
Oh, no, I mean, it could be the case that, in 6 months' time, many of those people don't have a job. The Fed's been raising rates so quickly for so long, or for over a year now. It's been one of the fastest rate tightening cycles in a while. And it could, we know that monetary policy in terms of how it impacts the labor market typically comes at a bit of a lag. And we're already starting to see some layoffs, especially in the technology sector around here in Palo Alto or in Silicon Valley. And it's totally possible that this could spill over to other sectors, including manufacturing and retail.
Yeah.
And
so nobody should be counting on their job. They should be trying to protect themselves because we just don't know what's going to happen in 23. Would that be an accurate statement?
Yeah, I think that's a good assessment.
Okay, John. We really appreciate you coming on. Thanks very much. Enjoy the season. There is a concerted effort to intimidate and silence conservative thinkers, rewrite American history, and replace our God-given individual liberty with big government controls. The very freedoms secured by our Constitution are now being threatened by the most liberal leftists our nation has ever seen. They have failed to secure our borders, weakened our position on the global stage, are trying to indoctrinate and corrupt our children in school, and the list goes on and on. But there are plenty of patriots with the courage to stand up to the far left. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization in the USA. I am a member, and I hope you will join as well. AMAC members have access to money-saving benefits, a robust website and mobile app, and a magazine filled with all kinds of great content. So please join AMAC today at amac.us and tell them O'Reilly sent you. That's amac.us. US. Okay, here's the final thought of the day, and it's an important one. You know, we all have challenges in life, and all our lives are going to end. And some of them are going to end in a gruesome way. And we have no control over that unless we're doing destructive things to ourselves. But when bad things happen in relationships, in the job market, in your health situation, there's only one thing you can do. Only one. Fight. Fight. Whatever it is, you just say, I'm not going to whine about it. I'm not going to be a victim. I'm going to fight as hard as I can to correct this issue. Sometimes you're not going to be successful. But that is the most noble thing human beings can do. When bad things happen to you, you don't give in. You fight as hard as you can. Thank you for watching and listening to the No Spin News. We will see you tomorrow. Inflation at its highest level in 40 years. Interest rates skyrocketing. We all know that. Market experts like Jamie Dimon, CEO of JP Morgan, not only predict a recession, but are using scary terms like economic hurricane and unprecedented. So, you need to call the only precious metal dealer I trust, American Hartford Gold. They will show you how to protect your savings and retirement accounts by diversifying your portfolio with physical gold and silver. Please call them today, and they will have physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or put inside your IRA or 401k. They have thousands of satisfied customers, are the highest rated firm in the country with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. Tell them Bill O'Reilly sent you, and they'll give you up to $2,500 of free silver on your first order. Please call 866-501-5201, 866-501-5201, or text BILL to 65532. Again, 866-501-5201, or text BILL to 65532.